Welcome to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is your podcast for all things hockey. On this podcast, we talk about past history to the modern day and what you can do to grow the sport. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. Welcome in, everybody. This is episode number 91, and I have to say thank you again. So episode 100 is going to come up soon, and thank you. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who listens, who has listened in the past, but just continue to listen and share this podcast with your friends. So today we were talking about Patrick Kane, and I wrote an article on my Substack about the possibility of him coming to Buffalo. I'm not sure what's in the works yet. Once again, this is all rumors, and they're not, how should I put it? Nothing's confirmed yet, but it's just more of what do I want to see out of Patrick Kane. I want to see a hometown hero win a Stanley Cup. That's what I want to see. And I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head other than Maurice Richard. And I can't really think of anyone outside of the original Six era that did it for their home state. I think, Mike Modano, technically, not really, because maybe I'll actually have to check this now if I actually can pull that up. But the one thing is that it just doesn't happen anymore because you have so many European stars coming over as well as American stars too, from non-traditional markets such as Arizona coming in there. And I don't think we're going to see a Stanley Cup championship hoisted in Arizona. And as much as I like to bash the Coyotes, I just genuinely think that's true. So there's also players from other regions where there is no hockey team necessarily. I think there was North Dakota that came up there. Wisconsin never had an NHL team as well. So even in the American markets, you don't necessarily always have have that market as well. And certainly from the players in Alaska, from like Chicken, Alaska, and by the way, that's a real place. They're not coming into, they can't be hometown heroes and win the Stanley Cup for their hometown team, their boyhood team. It's just not, it's unlikely that they're going to put a team in Chicken, Alaska. It's not going to work. But I do think that Kane going to Buffalo will be better in the long run for the NHL because of the fact that you get to play with your boyhood team. Sidney Crosby is from was not born too far away from Montreal, and he naturally would root for the Canadiens, but he'd win 3 Stanley Cups with the Penguins. And I think if you told him at 14 years old that he would play for the Canadiens, or rather, if you tell him that he's going to win a Stanley Cup, he'd be happy. But if you ask him, hey, would you want to win the Stanley Cup 3 times with the Penguins or once with your hometown team, I actually think he would take his hometown team, to be honest with you. you see this in baseball. You saw it in baseball with Ripken winning his World Series ring. It doesn't happen often in sports in general, and that's why I think it would be good for Buffalo. Now Buffalo also has a younger core with Tage Thompson, so Kane going there, he could be that veteran and just be that leader, ready to go, because he was not the captain in Chicago. He was only the assistant to Jonathan Toews. And now it's still a great role. He learned a lot from 2010 to now, and that Blackhawks dynasty back in the 2010s. He learned a lot, and I think he is ready for um that as well. And I'm looking up Mike Modano still as well. But sorry to be jumping around. I definitely think that whatever Patrick Kane chooses could affect the NHL for years to come. Now, what are the benefits of him staying on the Rangers? It would be that the biggest American market could potentially hoist the Stanley Cup one more time, and it's been almost 30 years. And guess what? I was born in 1994, so go figure. You know, I want to see them actually win it. Now I'm not old enough to see it, and my dad was not a hockey fan when I was born, and what it took was that for the Rangers was a veteran. It took a veteran. It took someone who had won multiple championships to come in and mix it up as well, and you had a rookie by the name of, or you had a new kid on the block by the name of Alex Kovalev as well. So you got so much. You actually have a little bit of comparisons from 1994 to today's NHL as well. The Mark Messier and Patrick Kane are almost parallels. You have that. You've got Sergei Zubov and Adam Fox. They're sort of like parallels. They're kind of like parallels in a little bit. Mika Zibanejad, as well, goes in there. Richter and Igor Shesterkin. So Kreider and would compare to maybe Adam Graves or someone like that, or Brian Leach, maybe back of 94. And Richter is sort of like the parallel to Igor Shesterkin. So they kind of have that core in there. And Kane is sort of like the parallel to Mark Messier, because he came from a dynasty team, and he was the assistant captain of that team, and he won the Conn Smythe as well. I'll have to just verify that real quick. I'm pretty sure he did win the Conn Smythe. But back to Mike Modano real quickly. So we'll look that up as I will. Mike Modano stats. So he could just be that key piece too, and for the Rangers, and he has never played with Tage Thompson. He's gonna have, and it was Eichel's team for a while. It's not. It may not be better for him. Maybe it wouldn't be the best for him, but I'm saying that for hockey fans, it would also it would just be great for the city of Buffalo to have a Big Four sports championship under their belt as well. And Kane probably would be an excellent piece to deliver that. But would they be relying on draft picks? What would they be doing? And they still have to have a battle plan to get into the playoffs. And even though they came up short this year, I don't know how much Kane would have made a difference of. So we're gonna look up Madonna's stats, and then we're gonna check that as well. Okay, he did not play for the Red Wings until his end season, so that's something as well. Patrick Kane, just want to make sure of that. And I know I should have my notes out. Calm down. Calder, he did not win the. Yeah, I don't think he won the Conn Smythe. No, he didn't. As well. He did not win the Conn Smythe. Hold on. Yeah, Patrick Kane stats. Okay, but okay, so putting the Conn Smythe factor aside, what could he, he did struggle in the playoffs. That's the one thing he did. He was not set with this New York Rangers team. It's still a young core, and even though the Devils managed to sort of get the better of them out of that series, it was okay. Okay, he did win the Conn Smythe. My bad. He won the Conn Smythe in 2013 for that run. Wanted to just clear that up. So even though he lost my train of thought. Okay, so Patrick Kane, even though he won the Conn Smythe, I just think that he really is going to be, he could be that difference maker for Buffalo as well. I think the trade was the best for him. Maybe not the best for the Blackhawks, but I think it's the best for Patrick Kane because now he has another chance to win another Stanley Cup, and I think he wants another ring. 1988, Patrick Kane was born in 1988. He is 34 years old. He's got some time on his hands, and he's going to be 35 in November. 35 in November. He is a veteran. He is sort of like Phil Kessel. He never had a 50-goal season, which is a real shame, honestly. I think that is a bit of I think that's a real shame, but he's probably going to be the next American player, next American born player to reach 500 goals. It's that simple as well. And if he does it in a big market such as New York, that's another benefit, and more eyeballs are on him. And you have all the outlets talking about it. I really do want to see Patrick Kane succeed wherever he goes. He is one of my favorite players. I bought a Christmas ornament back in 2010 during the holidays because he just had the overtime winning goal. And you don't forget moments like this in Stanley Cup finals. You just don't. So I'm going to share this article with you of what I wrote. Yeah. And I guess and I'll definitely read a little bit of this to you. Now here's something else though. If we could just Safari content, Brave content, whiteboard desktop. Yeah. I'm gonna just stop the share. I'm actually gonna pull this up and just do this as well. So here's the thing. So I'll read this and you can go check it out as well. So head over to rothsteina.substack. You can read this entirely for free, but if you pay $5, you get access to all the bonus episodes, paid articles, all the sorts of everything. And if you just give me your email, you get access to all the free stuff as well on the newsletter. So give it a try today. Sign up with your email at rothsteina.substack.com. Link is in the description/show notes. Okay, here we go. So the Buffalo Sabres have had many difficult years in the 21st century after losing their star Jack Eichel to the Vegas Golden Knights. And I'll add this, him winning the Stanley Cup as well this season. Buffalo came up short and failed to get into the playoffs for the 2022-2023 season, even though the Sabres players such as Tage Thompson have players such as Tage Thompson in their lineup. Buffalo may need more star power before they can get into the playoffs. Patrick Kane, however, can be that star. And I think when you have, the Dominik Hasek incident with back in 1999, and it's like, his skate was in the crease sort of thing, and it shouldn't have been no goal thing. You have these tough. Buffalo is an unlucky city. They are just unlucky. Patrick Kane might be the exception to the rule here, where he won 3 Stanley Cups, and he's got a Conn Smythe under his belt, and he knows a thing or two about leadership. He could still be, he could break the curse. I'm not doubting him. I think now he could still go a million. He can go anywhere too, anywhere that'll have him. And he could be, heck, he could play for the Panthers too. But the reason why I want to see him in Buffalo is to be that supporting cast member as well, and just give it to Buffalo, and just, and people like an underdog story. And the Sabres are way more of the underdog than the Rangers ever were, because they are the established franchise. They are an original 16, and you have the opportunity to help your boyhood team out. Now, I also talked about as well that he only had 6 points in 7 games, and even though that's not necessarily a bad thing in the playoffs, in the one series that he did play in, he only had a plus-minus rating of 0. So, it was whatever he was going to do, it was a wash. And I could just tell on television that he was just not meshing well with the players in New York. Now, you could say to me, Adam, he needs some time to get used to Mika Zibanejad and Kreider and Adam Fox. Okay, fine. He needs some time to get used to them. But the New Jersey Devils aren't going to give him time during that season. The Hughes brothers, or Blues brothers are going to give him the Blues. And they're going to send him packing. And that's exactly what happened this time. So he needs to, during the regular season, needs to take time with them. He needs to get used to playing with them, and get used to playing with them quickly, and get used to the Rangers systems, because this ain't Chicago, Kane. This is the Big Apple. It's not the Windy City anymore. It's not as well. And for him to get shut down by, all this stuff is still just, it's tough when you have the Hughes brothers, and this young team just dominate the Rangers. And I think that and maybe he'll take that as an indication to go to Buffalo and try and get into the playoffs. Now, let's say he does go to Buffalo and he just gets them into the playoffs. I think that's still a huge accomplishment for Kane to take this team that has struggled throughout the 21st century, that has struggled throughout its entire season, that to just get to the playoffs and just hold it, because it's just been a while since they've been in the playoffs naturally. But I think the biggest thing if he wants to have one more ring is to take them. You at least in your first year, you have got to get through the first round with the Sabres. And next year, you need to do that regardless of where you're playing, because he could still have a Phil Kessel moment himself, and he could just be scratched, and Coach Chippy makes videos making fun of the fact that he got benched. So whatever he does, he needs to be the one that gets them out of the first round and at least gets them to the second round, and at least makes the second round series competitive. And if he can't do that, then I think he should find a different home. I want Kane to succeed in the state of New York, whether he's playing for the Rangers or the Sabres. But I think it would be best for hockey in the long run if he plays for the Sabres, but great for hockey in the short run if it's the Rangers, because they are on that national stage, and they're a bigger market, and there are over 13 million people living in the city alone, and you still have those in Long Island that are Rangers fans, and those living on the Jersey side. So, and then there's Rangers fans across the country too, and the middle of and upstate New York too. So there's going to be more eyeballs on him if he wins the cup in New York City, rather than Buffalo City. So, but I think Buffalo winning it would be more of an underdog story to tell for the ages. All right, I hope you like this episode. Please be sure to hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let me know what you think, and just leave a comment if you're on YouTube. Subscribe on the podcast to Spotify. Follow, rate this podcast 5 stars. Share it with your friends, and if you do all that, I'll see you all in the next episode. Peace out.